What's up, Kansas City? I'm your host, Glenn Bryan Frizzell. Today we are filming in the historic Lincoln Building, 18th and Vine Jazz District, Kansas City, Missouri. Today's special guest is seeking your vote in the 1st District at Large Jackson County Legislature election that will be taking place on August the 5th. Please, let's give a warm what's up, Kansas City welcome to Mr. Sherwood Smith.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith, we are pleased to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Can you tell us what motivated you to put your name on the ballot February 5th, I believe, to seek office?
I've just been active in community issues, people issues, political issues, and as you may know, I'm retiring at the end of the year as a 36-year firefighter, and that gives me the being retired to give me the opportunity to stay engaged and actually even move one step further.
Now, how does it feel? You have your accomplishments. Certainly 35 years in fire department is nothing to slight at. But how does it feel to run against Mr. White, to be in the same election as Mr. Frank White, who is the MVP baseball star?
Well, obviously I'd probably rather have somebody else, but in the actual facts of the matter, he's running against me, and I say that simply because I filed first and had been intending to run for a while. And but how does it feel? My issues, my platform, the things that I want to do, that doesn't change. Obviously, you know, competition makes a person work harder and those kinds of things. But as far as the things that I want to do, the vision that I have for our community, for our listeners, your listeners, people out there, and the people of Jackson County, it doesn't matter who's my opponent. What matters is if I'm able to do the things that I think that needs to be done and the things that I want to do.
Mr. Smith, excellent phrasing. Can you tell us a little bit about your background? You grew up in Kansas City?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I grew up in Kansas City. I'm a lifelong resident of Kansas City. I've either lived in the, I guess this is the 3rd and the 5th district my whole life. Went to Manual High School, although I graduated from Paseo. Well, I only went there like a semester. I'm a father and a husband, and I've been on the fire department 36 years. Been a captain for about 23 years. I've received several awards and accommodations on my job in the fire service. And even those, you know, I've received.
You've Medal of Bravery and
yes.
the first African American elected president of any state's Firefighters Association in the United States. How about that? How political is the Kansas City Fire Department?
Kansas City Fire Department is very political.
Did you work with Mr. Dowdy?
Actually, he wasn't very political, but he was my captain when I was a young firefighter.
Really?
He was my captain when I was a young firefighter. He was my captain when I got promoted to driver. That was back probably in the 80s, and actually there's his mom and my mom were friends. So although he's a little older than me, he was. I mean, Gilbert was a great guy. The Gilbert that I know.
Gilbert Dowdy.
Yes.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about how political it is? Has it been easy for you to, I guess, put in the amount of work it's taken to get your position today?
Well, yeah, like I said, the fire department is a very political organization. Not the fire department, but our union. Like you said, I was the president of the State Firefighters Association, so we do all of the legislative work for firefighters all across the state, from Cape Girardeau to St. Louis, Kansas City, Springfield, any place in between. So we represent all firefighters, EMS workers, prosecuting attorneys, dispatchers in Jefferson City with legislation, policy, and those kinds of things. Here locally, I'm the former political director of Local 42, which is Firefighters Local, and the former executive director of Taxpayers Unlimited, which is the political action committee. And we've been involved in issues, campaigns. In fact, issue-wise, we've probably, since while I was president or director, I think we have probably distributed over, I know we have distributed over $1 million toward different campaigns and issues. And those are not political, those aren't individual campaigns, not like for candidate campaigns, but issues that matter to our community, like the e-tax, the health levy tax, and those kinds of things. We've been very political.
Mr. I'm looking down here. Mr. Smith, can you please tell us a little bit about, you grew up here in Kansas City, the issues that your platform, what you plan on doing if you're elected to the first district at large office?
Okay, sure. Some of the things that I would like to do is one is the very first thing that we have to do, and this is not the, it's not the fluffy or nice thing to, everything that everybody wants to look at. But one of the things that's most important for that position is we have to, and for the county, is we have to get the assessment under control. So we
Tax
have
assessment.
tax assessment. So we have to make sure that there's a fair assessment of property and an efficient collection of those taxes. And you can't build a house without a good foundation. And so a lot of things that revolve around that is, is based off of the income that the county has. And so that's where we have to start. You might want to say parks, or you might want to say a lot of things, but none of that can happen. We won't be able to have people to go pick up trash in the park if we're not assessing taxes fairly, equitably, and making sure that it's collected, because that's where, that's how we get business done. So my first thing is to make sure that that's up and running, get that straightened out. And then some of the other things that I would like to do is, there's several things. There are several things I like to do in different communities. Over on the west side, I would like to look at gentrification, where, the elderly are sometimes not able to stay in their homes based on the taxes or the rise of their real estate evaluations. Certainly. And for a guy like you, or maybe even somebody my age who might intend to move again or something like that, those are good things. But if you're 70 years old, you probably want to stay in your house as long as you can. And taxes from a government body shouldn't be the reason that you have to move. So I like to do something about that. I like to make sure that if an elderly person who meets certain income guidelines will not be forced out of their home, or not have to decide, should I fix the roof or pay my taxes, or get my medicine, pay my taxes, those kind of things. So I want to make sure those are one of the things for that community. For the community as a whole, I like to see the county partnership with the city of Kansas City and all the municipalities in the county to do some socioeconomic things. One is that micro lending program that the city of Kansas City has has been a great program. In fact, it's probably the best program in the country that does this. That's part of this Justine Peterson program, and the success rate is 93%. And what that allows is for someone to go in and get a loan from the county or from the city through that program, and who might not meet guidelines for ABC Bank or something like that. And not to say that the person's not credit worthy or something like that.
What's the name of this program again?
Yes.
What's the name of it?
It's the Justine Peterson micro lending program.
Justine
Peterson.
Yes, Justine
Justine Peterson. Yeah,
Sounds
she's
interesting.
a woman. Yeah, and it's a program that because I believe it's germane to your zip codes. So if you live in 64127, you're probably eligible. 64128, you're probably eligible. But if you lived in 64134, and I'm just throwing some numbers out there, or 64054, you wouldn't be eligible. But that doesn't mean that there's not some small businessman or businesswoman who has a great idea, already has a business up and running, but if they could, something as simple as having a lawnmower business, cutting yards, if they could get one more out, they could make, maybe could double their income, or they could hire another person, those kinds of things. So that's a great program that the county that we wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. We would just have to partnership with the city of Kansas City, bring in Lee Summit, Grandview, Raytown, and those kinds of things, and then move those zip codes, widen that footprint to move those zip codes out so people that might not live in the areas that are designated now could be a part of that program.
Now, if you're elected to office, what will you do to, and I would like to put a plug in for social media, because Cascade Media is social media company of
Sure.
the future, and that future is now. How would you effectively build coalitions between this group and that group, which say might not have, I guess you could say, the same agenda but have similar interests? All too often in our community we have competing interests, far too few resources with far too many people going after them. How would you effectively negotiate and navigate that terrain?
Oh, well, one of the things that I have a track record with is consensus building. As the president of the state council, I think in '02 we went to Jefferson City. My first board meeting was I told the guys and gals there that one of the things that we'll have to change is we will have to work with Republicans. We'll have to make sure that we're tied into them, and because they're the only ones here. I mean, they're running the show, and so from that point forward, I think that goes to show that working across the aisle to get things done. I mean, we were very successful in Jefferson City. We got a lot of bills passed, bills that not only help firefighters and police officers and public safety venues, but people that help my neighbor next door.
Who helped get these bills passed?
The Missouri State Council of Firefighters. That, we lobby to passage different bills and ordinances. And we can only do that by working across the aisle, working with others, working with people who may not have the same goal originally as some of us may have. But if their goal is to help their fellow brothers and sisters, to help their communities, things like that, you'll find something that's in common. Make sure that you learn how to build consensus and get things done. And I think I have a track. I know I have a track record that's easily accessible to look to see some of the things that I've done, some of the consensus building that I've been a part of.
Now, your platform, you said tax dollars should promote local businesses, women's equality. That was a big thing that was in the news recently. Economic equality and a living wage. So you support a living wage?
Yes. My thought is there shouldn't be anybody who works for the county, the city, any government entity that works full time and can get food stamps. Of course, there's some. If you had 10 kids or something, and it was just one or two of you, but you should be able. If somebody who's willing to put in 40 hours a week, do the work. The wages that they make should be livable wages. I'm not saying I'm a firefighter. So, I'm never going to get rich. I knew that going in. There aren't rich firefighters and things like that. But our salaries are decent enough where you could one day look to raise a family. You could one day look to buy a car, buy a home, a nice apartment, and those kinds of things. And I know through the political process, negotiations and stuff with the city and different other entities with the county, that surprisingly some of the people that work just as hard don't have that same advantage, either because they don't have the force of a union behind them, or it's just a lot of people that's don't have the voice to be heard, and those are the people that are usually, I won't say taken advantage of, but those are the people that are kind of left behind. And as a government body, those are the people that I think that we should speak for. Now, we should speak for everybody, but those are the people that can't get heard.
Now, I was recently watching a documentary, and hopefully this little fella hasn't changed his mind, but he said, if I live to be 18 or 20, I want to be a firefighter. And the lady who was in, I guess you could say, correcting him, educating him, said, not if, it's when. How hard is it leading a firefighter? I guess, how hard is it your job being a captain, leading men? Is that a 24/7 job? How many men do you have under your stewardship?
Well, actually, it's a 20. Yeah, it is a 24. It is a 24-hour job because we work a 24-hour shift. I actually I'm in charge of 5 people. 2 of them are women, and the way there's a span of control. So there's the way you have to supervise somebody at an emergency scene. There can be a large span of control. You have to be able to see or communicate pretty rapidly with the people that you may have to touch. As far as the guy who's 18 years old and wants to be a firefighter, we're in Kansas City, you have to be 19, but I would encourage him to, stay abreast of issues. We actually, the Black Firefighters Association, who I'm a member of, we actually do a mentoring program starting about 9 months out from, the city of Kansas City only accepts applications once every 2 years. And that's mandated by charter issues and stuff like that. And so, but 9 months out from that, the Black Firefighters Association, and that's just a group of guys and gals who, and we aren't all African American, that volunteer. Everybody puts in, $100, and then we may have to put in a little more to buy supplies and stuff like that. And so we've been lucky that the ad hoc building people from ad hoc let us use their building 1 or 2 nights a week, and we advertise once in the call. The dollars are kind of short. KPRS and I think 107 has given us some free time to, just a PSA to say that, hey, you guys can come and try. And so what we do there is we teach some young men and women, whoever comes. There's no charge to how to interview, what the test might look like, how to prepare for a career in the fire service, and those kinds of things. And those are things that they can use through other walks of life. They might go and interview with IBM or something the next day. But what we talk about is, you can be a firefighter. We would love for you to be a firefighter. And it's open to everybody. It's not just African American, but it just happens to be on 30th and Prospect, so it's in the community, and so we encourage guys and gals to do that. The people that do the mentoring, it's time out of their day, but as we get long in the tooth and move away from the department, we want the department to be able to reflect the community which it serves.
Awesome, encouraging young people to follow their dreams. I have one final question, and then I'll open the floor up for you if you have any final comments, Mr. Smith. Why should voters vote for you?
Well, I think the biggest reason that voters should vote for me is that government is serious business, and what a lot of people don't realize is everything is tied to politics, policy, legislation, and government. I mean, every walk of life. If you go outside, there's a stop sign. Well, there's a regulation that made that stop sign there. What I have in my background is I know policy. I've written policy. I know how policy works. Then there's legislation. I've written legislation that's been passed at the state level in Jefferson City, in City Hall in Kansas City, in Grandview, and in Jackson County. I helped co-author the domestic partner benefit bill or ordinance that we first did in Kansas City, that allowed if you weren't married, that did not negate your kids or your significant other if you all lived together for a year or two and you would sign some paper saying that she or he is my significant other.
I read it.
Yeah, and so there was no reason for us to make those kids to not be able to have health care just because mom and dad wasn't married. And then we also brought that very same bill over to the county. Those are some of the things I know how to do. On the day of the day after the election will be the day that I put together a staff to start working on some of the things that I talked about. I'm not going to wait until the day that I'm sworn in. I'm going to get to work the day after the election.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Please make sure that you vote. August 5th is the general election. What's up, Kansas City? Check out all of the candidate videos online, all of the candidates who we have interviewed for Jackson County Legislature positions, www.whatsupkansascity.net. My name is Glenn Bryan Frizzell. Remember, the sky's the limit. If you aim for the moon and you miss, at the very least, you would have landed among the stars.
Thank you.
That's all.
CMG wants you to always remember, the victory we call success goes to the best prepared. When you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Thanks.